Hello everyone, my name is Derek and welcome to the Netflix Knowhow, the review show here to help you stop browsing and start watching. Today, we have Little Evil, a comedy horror film starring Adam Scott and Evangeline Lilly, and is also sort of a parody to the 1970s horror classic The Omen. Little Evil is about a man named Gary, played by Adam Scott, who has just married the woman of his dreams, Samantha, played by Evangeline Lilly, and he's trying his best to settle into the new family life and his new role as stepfather to Samantha's son, Lucas. Unfortunately for Gary, Lucas might very well be the Antichrist. Quite literally. So that's always fun to deal with. Little Evil is actually written and directed by Eli Craig, who is the man behind Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, which is one of my favorite movies ever. If you haven't seen it already, you should definitely go check it out because it is one of the best horror comedy films I have ever seen in this genre. And lucky for you, it happens to be streaming on Netflix right now. I'll probably do a review of it at some point, but that's for a later time. Anyway, back to Little Evil. This film, just like Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, has some really good, really smart, and really witty writing. The main joke throughout the movie is how parents often find their kids to be, evil little turds, but it's a bit of a different story when your stepson turns out to actually be evil. There's sort of a subplot in the movie about Gary who has to join this therapy group with a bunch of dads, and all they do is talk about their kids and how evil they are and all the terrible, awful things they do, and sometimes how they plan on killing their dads or whatever. But Gary, Adam Scott's character, it's a little bit different for him because Lucas is actually evil and is actually trying to kill him. The dads in this group are just so outrageously funny because they just rag on their kids the whole time, and everything they say about them is so inappropriate, but I can't help but think that it's kind of true. Now, I don't have kids myself, so I can't really speak from experience, but I'm just going to assume that the awful things that the dads in this movie say about their kids is not too far off from how kids actually behave in reality. There's one dad in particular named Al that just stills every single scene that he's in, and I don't really want to give away sort of like the main joke about this character, but let's just say that Al is not exactly the kind of person you would expect to be a dad. Al's character really is kind of just a stupid gag that you think would be just a one and done type thing, but they stick to it the whole movie, and it's so funny because it's just such a great parody of like the bro man stereotype and like, wanting to muscle it up and whatever. It's just great. The rest of the cast is fine too. Adam Scott is his, normal, charismatic, charming self, and Evangeline Lilly is naive and sweet and, just does a wonderful job. One of the bigger problems I have though is that the characters are all kind of stupid. I do get that this is technically a parody of The Omen, but just because it's a parody film doesn't mean you have to dumb things down. The best example of what I mean by this is there's actually a scene where Gary ends up getting buried alive in the backyard by Lucas, and then Samantha has to run out and dig him up before he runs out of oxygen and dies. It's actually a pretty funny scene, but once Gary is dug up out of the ground and understandably pissed at Lucas for burying him, Samantha just brushes it off and is like, "Oh, you don't understand him. He's just a kid. He didn't mean to do it. You're a terrible stepfather. You're not trying to connect with him. Blah, 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 blah." What? Again, I'm not an expert on kids, but Samantha, your son just buried your new husband alive. That seems like a pretty huge red flag to me. The whole movie is kind of like that actually, where Lucas will do some kind of terrible, horrible, messed up evil thing, something very obviously evil, and Samantha will just come along and brush it aside like it's not a big deal. Because her little snowflake is just misunderstood and different from the rest of them. No, Samantha, your kid's a freaking psycho. I mean, I do get the joke. I get that the movie is poking fun at the fact that parents don't tend to see the bad qualities in their kids and just like to focus on the good, but come on, man, you can't have a character that's this stupid. I was really hoping that Little Evil would also end on some kind of high note, something really sly and subversive and challenging to the status quo, but unfortunately Eli Craig decided to go the safe route for some reason. Love is the answer. Ooh, exciting. Oh, and it's another one of those movies where the movie ends and then it keeps going. I mean, I guess the second ending had to be there because you have to have your obligatory showdown with Satan and the ultimate evil and, you know, fighting for the humanity and the soul of Lucas, but honestly, it felt kind of out of place with the tone that had just been established right before that. It didn't really fit in with what the film was trying to say right in that moment. Little Evil is still a funny movie though. It has some really great writing, some great dialogue, and, you know, some good characters and laughs and designs. Actually, I really like the design of Lucas. He's sort of designed to look like a small child version of Angus Young from AC/DC, so I thought that was a good reference there. Ultimately though, the jokes and the humor and what little bit of subversive nature it had to it just weren't really enough to bring it over the top and to overcome the shortcomings. It's a demon whose horns definitely could have been sharpened just a bit more. Thumbs down. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. I am still working on getting to upload more than one video a week, so hopefully I will be able to do that soon. And like I said, don't worry, I have plenty of stuff backlogged that I need to get through, just a whole lot of it. It's gonna happen. There's lots of variety, lots of stuff coming your way. Just bear with me, be patient. You guys can always head on over to Facebook and Twitter. You can follow me on there for more updates. And as always, if you wanna know your flicks, you know where to click. Happy hunting, guys. See you next time.